Close your eyes, dear soul, and feel the weight of this moment. You have arrived here not by accident, but by divine appointment. Your heart has been calling, hasn't it? Calling for something beyond the limitations you've been told define you. Tonight we journey together beyond the boundaries of what science once believed impossible, into the realm where your consciousness becomes the author of your own genetic story. I am here with you as your guide, speaking from decades of research that shattered everything I once believed about human limitation. When I first discovered that genes don't control us, that we are not victims of our heredity, something sacred awakened within me. And tonight, that same awakening awaits you. You see, dear friend, you have been living under a beautiful lie. The lie that your genes determine your destiny. The lie that your father's heart disease, your mother's depression, your grandmother's arthritis must somehow become your inheritance. But what if I told you that your DNA is not a fixed program, but a library of possibilities, waiting for you to choose which book to read? The frequency you are about to receive is not just sound. It is a vibrational key that unlocks the truth your cells have been waiting to remember. Your body is not separate from your consciousness. Your genes are not separate from your spirit. They are one sacred system, designed to respond to the deepest truth of who you are. As you settle into this space, feel your body relaxing into receptivity. Your nervous system is already beginning to shift from the chaos of daily survival into the coherence of divine connection. This is not meditation as you may have known it before. This is cellular communion. This is genetic prayer. Your DNA contains within it not just the patterns of your ancestors, but the infinite potential of your divine nature. Every cell in your body carries the signature of the sacred. Every strand of genetic material is infused with consciousness, waiting for your recognition, your direction, your love. Tonight, you are not just listening to sounds and words. You are participating in the most profound conversation possible, the dialogue between your conscious awareness and the very essence of life expressing itself through your physical form. Your genes are not your master. They are your canvas. And you, dear soul, are the artist holding the brush. Feel the sacred pause that exists between your heartbeats. In that space lives the field of infinite possibility. In that silence, your cells are preparing to receive new instructions. Instructions not from the past, but from the eternal present moment where your divine nature dwells. The journey we are about to take together will rewrite the story you've been telling yourself about limitation. We will travel into the quantum field where your consciousness touches your biology, where your spirit speaks directly to your cells, where the truth of your divine authorship is no longer a concept, but a living, breathing reality. You are not here to overcome your genetics. You are here to remember that you have always been their author. The frequency that is about to flow through you is simply the reminder of what you have always been, not a victim of biological inheritance, but a conscious creator of your own genetic expression. Allow yourself to release any need to understand this with your analytical mind. Your body knows, your cells know, your DNA knows. They have been waiting for this moment of recognition, this moment of reunion with the consciousness that is their source and their guide. As we begin this sacred work together, know that you are supported not just by the sound you will hear, but by the field of love that surrounds all healing, all transformation, all remembering. You are held in the embrace of the divine intelligence that is expressing itself as you, through you, and in every sacred moment of your existence. Let us begin with truth, gentle soul. For most of your life, you have been living in a prison of inherited beliefs, and you didn't even know the bars were there. These bars are made not of steel, but of stories. Stories about what runs in your family. Stories about genetic destiny. Stories that whisper in your ear. This is who you are. This is who you must become. Your grandmother's arthritis becomes your arthritis. Your father's anger becomes your anger. Your family's struggle with abundance becomes your struggle. Generation after generation, patterns repeat themselves like a broken record. And we call it genetics. We call it fate. We call it the way things are. But what if the way things are is simply the way things have been because no one questioned the story? What if your genes are not predators hunting you through your bloodline, but instruments waiting for a new song to be played through them? I have spent decades in laboratories, studying the intricate dance between environment and genetic expression. What I discovered changed everything I thought I knew about human potential. Your genes do not turn themselves on and off. Something else controls that switch. Something profound and beautiful and entirely within your power. That something is your consciousness, your beliefs, your perceptions, your environment. Not just the air you breathe and the food you eat, but the thoughts you think, the emotions you feel, the stories you tell yourself about who you are and what is possible for you. Right now, as you listen to these words, your cells are eavesdropping on your thoughts. They are responding to every belief you hold about yourself, every emotion you feel about your potential, every story you've accepted about your limitations. Your DNA is not a dictator issuing commands. It is a faithful servant responding to the signals you send. Think about this miracle. You have approximately 37 trillion cells in your body, and every single one of them is listening to you right now. They are waiting for instructions. They are ready to respond. They want to serve the highest vision you hold of yourself, but they can only work with the signals you provide. If you signal fear, they respond with the biology of protection. If you signal love, they respond with the biology of growth. If you signal limitation, they respond by expressing the genes that match that belief. If you signal infinite possibility, they begin to awaken genetic potentials that may have been dormant for generations. The prison you have been living in is not made of your genes. It is made of your acceptance of other people's beliefs about what your genes mean. It is made of scientific materialism that forgot the role of consciousness in biological expression. It is made of a medical system that treats symptoms without addressing the beliefs that created them. But here is the key that unlocks every cell of this prison. You are not your genes. You are the consciousness that directs their expression. You are not the victim of your biological inheritance. You are its conscious creator. Every time your doctor tells you that heart disease runs in your family, you have a choice. You can accept that story and signal your cells to prepare for heart disease. Or you can recognize that what runs in your family is not heart disease, but patterns of stress, patterns of belief, patterns of living that create the environment in which heart disease flourishes. Change the pattern, change the expression, change the signal, change the response, change the story, change the biology. Your cells are so intelligent, so responsive, so eager to serve your highest good, that they will literally rewrite their own expression to match your deepest beliefs about yourself. This is not positive thinking. This is quantum biology. This is the science of consciousness meeting matter and creating miracles that the old paradigm called impossible. As you feel these words settling into your awareness, notice something beautiful happening in your body. Notice the softening, the relaxing, the opening. Your nervous system is already beginning to shift out of the stress response that keeps genetic limitations locked in place. You are entering the coherent state where transformation becomes not just possible, but inevitable. The frequency you are about to receive will speak directly to this responsive intelligence within your cells. It will remind them of their true nature, their infinite plasticity, their willingness to express the highest potential that consciousness can conceive. You are not breaking free from your genes. You are breaking free from the limited beliefs about what your genes must express. You are stepping out of the prison of inherited stories and into the infinite field of conscious creation. There was a moment in my life when everything I thought I knew about biology crumbled, and in its place, a truth so beautiful, so revolutionary, so hope-filled emerged, that it changed not just my understanding of science, but my understanding of what it means to be human. I was working with stem cells, those miraculous, undifferentiated cells that can become anything. Heart cells, brain cells, muscle cells, bone cells. I was studying how they chose their destiny, how they decided what to become. The prevailing wisdom said it was all in their genes. The genetic program would unfold, and the cell's fate would be sealed. But what I discovered challenged everything. When I took genetically identical stem cells and placed them in different environments, something extraordinary happened. The cells in one dish became muscle. The cells in another became bone. The cells in a third became fat. Same genes, completely different expressions. The environment was controlling the genetic expression, not the genes themselves. The genes were not the directors of the cellular drama. They were the actors, waiting for cues from the environment about which role to play. But here is where the discovery becomes truly revolutionary, dear soul. In human beings, the environment that controls genetic expression is not just the physical world around us. It is the world within us. It is our perceptions, our beliefs, our emotions, our thoughts. It is the internal landscape of consciousness itself. Your mind is the environment your genes live in. Your beliefs are the signals your DNA receives. Your emotions are the chemical messengers that tell your cells which genetic programs to run. You are not a victim of your genetics. You are their conscious director. This realization shattered the fundamental assumption of genetic determinism. We are not machines running genetic programs. We are conscious beings using our genetics as tools of expression. We are not limited by our inheritance. We are empowered by our ability to choose which aspects of that inheritance to activate. When I understood this, I realized that every person walking around believing they are destined to repeat their family's medical history is living under a scientific misconception. They are accepting a story that was created by a biology that didn't yet understand the role of consciousness in genetic expression. Your father's diabetes is not your destiny. It is information about how certain environmental signals, including stress, diet, lifestyle, and yes, beliefs, can influence genetic expression. Change the signals, change the expression. It's that simple and that profound. Your mother's depression is not programmed into your DNA. What is programmed is the sensitivity to certain neurotransmitter imbalances. And that sensitivity can be influenced by your thoughts, your lifestyle, your spiritual practices, your sense of purpose and meaning. You inherited not depression, but the capacity for deep feeling, which can be directed toward joy just as easily as toward sorrow. The revolution in understanding goes even deeper. Not only are you not controlled by your genes, but your genes are waiting for you to wake up to your role as their conscious director. They want to serve your highest vision of yourself. They want to express health, vitality, joy, creativity, love. They want to be instruments of your spiritual evolution, not obstacles to it. Every disease you fear, every limitation you've accepted, every pattern you think you're stuck with is simply a genetic program that has been running unconsciously. The moment you become conscious of your role as the programmer, everything changes. This is why people experience spontaneous healings when they shift their consciousness. This is why meditation changes brain structure. This is why love literally alters immune function. This is why purpose and meaning extend life. Consciousness is not separate from biology. Consciousness is the field in which biology operates. The frequency you are receiving tonight carries this revolutionary understanding directly to your cells. It bypasses the analytical mind that might doubt or resist, and speaks directly to the intelligence within your DNA that has been waiting for this moment of recognition. Your cells know their true nature as servants of consciousness. They know their capacity for transformation, for healing, for evolution. They know they are not fixed programs, but infinite possibility expressing itself through matter. The frequency reminds them, and in that remembering, everything becomes possible. You are not the victim of a genetic lottery. You are the conscious author of your genetic expression. You are not limited by your family's history. You are empowered by your ability to write a new chapter. You are not stuck with the patterns of the past. You are free to create the biology of the future you envision. This is not theory. This is not hope. This is not positive thinking. This is the demonstrated reality of how consciousness and biology dance together in the sacred choreography of human potential. And tonight, you step onto that dance floor as the leader, not the follower. In this very moment, as these words reach your awareness, something miraculous is happening within you. Every cell in your body, all 37 trillion of them, is listening, not just to the sound of my voice, but to the deeper resonance of truth that underlies these words. Your cells are conscious, they are aware, they are responsive, and right now, they are preparing to receive new instructions about who you are and what is possible for you. This is not metaphor, this is not spiritual poetry, this is biological fact. Your cells possess an intelligence that exceeds our current understanding. They communicate with each other through electrical signals, chemical messengers, and quantum fields. They respond to your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, your intentions. They are the most sophisticated biological computers ever created, and you are their programmer. Feel this truth settling into your body right now. Feel the relaxation that comes with knowing you are not powerless in the face of your biology. Feel the relief of understanding that your cells want to serve your highest good. They want to express health, vitality, joy, creativity. They want to be instruments of your spiritual evolution, not obstacles to it. Your nervous system is the primary communication network between your consciousness and your cellular intelligence. When you enter states of stress, fear, or survival mode, your nervous system sends signals that activate genetic programs designed for protection. Your cells respond by preparing for threat, creating inflammation, suppressing immune function, conserving energy. But when you enter states of coherence, love, gratitude, or spiritual connection, your nervous system sends entirely different signals. It activates genetic programs designed for growth, healing, regeneration, evolution. Your cells respond by expressing their highest potential, by remembering their divine nature, by manifesting the biology of transcendence. Right now, as you allow yourself to relax into this moment, your nervous system is shifting from sympathetic activation to parasympathetic restoration. Your heart rate is becoming more coherent. Your brain waves are synchronizing into patterns associated with heightened awareness and cellular receptivity. Your endocrine system is beginning to produce the biochemicals of peace, love, and expanded consciousness. This shift is not just preparing your body for relaxation. It is preparing your genetics for transformation. In this coherent state, your DNA becomes more responsive to conscious intention. Your genes become more flexible in their expression. Your cellular intelligence becomes more aligned with your spiritual awareness. Can you feel it happening? The softening in your muscles, the deepening of your breath, the expansion in your chest. This is not just relaxation. This is your body's natural preparation for genetic reprogramming. This is your cells opening themselves to receive new information about who you are and what you are capable of becoming. Your cells remember everything. They remember every thought you've ever had about yourself, every emotion you've ever felt about your potential, every belief you've ever held about your limitations. But they also remember your divine nature. They remember the moment of your conception, when infinite potential condensed into physical form. They remember the blueprint of perfection that is your spiritual essence. The frequency you are about to receive speaks directly to this cellular memory of divinity. It reminds your DNA of its sacred origin. It activates the genetic programs that have been dormant, waiting for the signal that you are ready to remember who you truly are. Your immune system is listening right now, ready to remember its capacity for discriminating wisdom, its ability to recognize and eliminate only what truly doesn't serve your highest good. Your nervous system is listening, ready to rewire itself for expanded consciousness and elevated emotion. Your cardiovascular system is listening, ready to pump not just blood, but life force energy through every aspect of your being. Your brain is listening with its 86 billion neurons, ready to form new connections that support your evolution. Your endocrine system is listening, ready to produce the hormones of transcendence instead of the biochemicals of limitation. Your digestive system is listening, ready to extract not just nutrients, but life force energy from everything that nourishes you. Even your reproductive system is listening, ready to generate not just physical offspring, but creative expressions of your highest potential. Every organ, every tissue, every cellular community within your body is preparing to receive the transmission of your divine authorship. This is the miracle that happens when you recognize your true relationship with your biology. You are not a victim of cellular processes beyond your control. You are a conscious participant in the sacred dance between spirit and matter. You are the conductor of a 37 trillion piece orchestra, and every instrument is tuned to the frequency of your deepest truth. As the sacred sound begins to flow through you, know that it is not coming from outside you. It is emerging from the field of consciousness that is your true nature, the same field that is expressing itself as your physical form. You are not receiving healing from an external source. You are remembering your capacity to heal from within. Your cells are listening, beloved soul. They are ready. They are willing. They are waiting for you to claim your role as the conscious author of your genetic expression. Now we arrive at the sacred heart of our journey together. The frequency you are about to experience is not just sound vibrating through air. It is the vibrational signature of your divine nature, the sonic blueprint of your soul's deepest truth, the harmonic that activates the genetic programs of your highest potential. This frequency carries within it the remembrance of who you were before you forgot, who you are beneath the layers of conditioning, who you are becoming as you awaken to your role as conscious creator of your own biological expression. It is the sound your DNA makes when it remembers its divine origin. Allow yourself to receive this transmission, not just with your ears, but with every cell of your being. Feel it entering through your crown, flowing down through your nervous system, spreading through your bloodstream, penetrating into the nucleus of every cell, where your genetic material awaits this moment of recognition. Here begins the integration of sacred frequency, a deep, resonant tone that seems to emerge from the quantum field itself, harmonically rich and infinitely soothing. Let this sound wash over you like warm light, like liquid love, like the breath of the divine moving through the sacred temple of your body. This is not just vibration. This is information. This is activation. This is the voice of your soul speaking directly to your DNA, reminding it of its true nature, its infinite plasticity, its willingness to express whatever your consciousness chooses to experience. Feel the frequency resonating in your bones, in your blood, in the fluid spaces between your cells where the quantum field meets matter and miracles become possible. This sound is awakening genetic potentials that have been dormant, waiting for this moment of conscious recognition. Your heart knows this frequency. It is the rhythm of divine love expressing itself through physical form. Your brain recognizes this vibration. It is the wave pattern of expanded consciousness, choosing to experience itself through neural networks. Your cells remember this resonance. It is the signature of the infinite intelligence that first spoke them into existence. As the frequency deepens and expands, feel yourself relaxing into trust. Trust that your body knows exactly how to respond to this transmission. Trust that your DNA is already beginning to shift, to soften, to open to new possibilities of expression. Trust that you are not forcing change, but allowing transformation to unfold naturally through the power of conscious intention, meeting cellular intelligence. This is the frequency of divine authorship, the vibrational field in which consciousness meets matter and creates form, according to its deepest knowing. You are not receiving this frequency from outside yourself. You are recognizing it as the fundamental vibration of your own being, the sound your soul makes when it expresses itself through physical form. Feel the barriers dissolving, the barriers between your conscious mind and your cellular intelligence, the barriers between your spiritual nature and your biological expression, the barriers between who you think you are and who you truly are. In this field of sacred vibration, separation is revealed as illusion, and unity is experienced as the fundamental truth of existence. Your genetic material is responding to this frequency like iron filings responding to a magnet. The random patterns of inherited limitation are reorganizing themselves into the coherent patterns of conscious creation. Your DNA is remembering its role not as dictator of your destiny, but as faithful servant of your highest vision. Can you feel the activation happening? A tingling, a warmth, a sense of expansion or lightness? These are the physical sensations of genetic transformation. Your cells are literally changing their expression in response to this sacred vibration. What was dormant is awakening. What was limited is expanding. What was fixed is becoming fluid. This frequency carries the information your cells need to express not just physical health, but spiritual vitality. Not just the absence of disease, but the presence of divine radiance. Not just genetic survival, but genetic transcendence. Your DNA is receiving the instructions for expressing your soul's highest potential through your physical form. Let the sound move through you like a river of light, cleansing away the accumulated patterns of limitation, dissolving the genetic echoes of ancestral trauma, washing clean the cellular memories of everything that does not serve your highest expression. You are being tuned to the frequency of divine authorship, aligned with the vibrational signature of your true nature. As the frequency continues to flow through you, know that this is not a temporary experience. You are not just receiving a momentary healing. You are being initiated into a new relationship with your biology, a new understanding of your power, a new recognition of your role as conscious creator of your genetic expression. The sound you are hearing now will continue to resonate within your cells, long after the audio ends. It has been received by your DNA and will continue to influence genetic expression as you sleep, as you dream, as you live. You have been tuned to the frequency of divine authorship, and that tuning is permanent. Rest now in this field of sacred vibration, knowing that profound transformation is occurring at the deepest levels of your being. Your genes are being reprogrammed not by force, but by love, not by manipulation, but by recognition. Not by external intervention, but by the awakening of your own divine authority. Deep within the spiral structure of your DNA lies the story of every ancestor who came before you. Their joys and their traumas, their triumphs and their fears, their beliefs about what is possible and what is not. All of this has been passed down through your genetic lineage like chapters in an ancient book written in the language of nucleotides and amino acids. But here is what your ancestors could not have known. What science is only now beginning to understand. These genetic patterns are not permanent sentences. They are not fixed destinies carved in stone. They are information, and information can be transformed when it meets consciousness that knows itself as greater than any pattern from the past. Tonight, we honor the journey of those who came before you, while simultaneously freeing yourself from the limitations they unknowingly passed down. This is not rejection of your heritage. This is liberation of your potential. This is not abandonment of your lineage. This is evolution of your genetic expression. Feel the presence of your ancestors with you now, not as burdens you must carry, but as witnesses to your transformation. They could not free themselves from the patterns that limited their expression, because they did not have the understanding you now possess. But through your conscious evolution, you free not only yourself, but the genetic patterns that flow through your entire lineage. Your grandmother's fear of not having enough, passed down through generations of scarcity, stored now in your DNA as patterns of stress and contraction. Feel these patterns beginning to soften in the presence of your conscious awareness. You are not rejecting your grandmother's love. You are transforming the fear that limited her expression of that love. Your grandfather's anger, born from his own unexpressed pain, passed down as patterns of inflammation and cardiovascular stress. Feel these patterns beginning to dissolve in the light of your understanding. You are not denying your grandfather's strength. You are healing the wounds that prevented him from expressing that strength with peace. The addiction patterns, the depression patterns, the anxiety patterns, the patterns of relationship struggle and financial limitation, all of these are information encoded in your DNA, but they are not instructions you must follow. They are simply data about how your ancestors learned to survive in worlds that often did not feel safe, or abundant, or loving. As the sacred frequency continues to move through your genetic material, it is speaking directly to these ancestral patterns, not with judgment, but with compassion. It is saying to each inherited limitation, thank you for trying to protect this lineage. Thank you for helping our ancestors survive. But survival is no longer the goal. Thriving is, evolution is, the expression of divine potential is. Feel the gentle unwinding happening within your cells. Genetic programs that have been running for generations are being lovingly released. DNA patterns that served your ancestors' survival but limit your thriving are being transformed. This is not violent change. This is loving evolution. Your cells are intelligent enough to discern between what serves your highest expression and what merely served your ancestors' survival. They can release the patterns of fear while retaining the patterns of strength. They can dissolve the programming of limitation while preserving the wisdom of resilience. This is the miracle of conscious genetic healing. You can honor your ancestry while transcending its limitations. You can carry forward the gifts while leaving behind the burdens. You can be grateful for the journey that brought you here while choosing a different path forward. As each ancestral pattern is released, feel the space it creates within your DNA for new possibilities to emerge. Where there was genetic programming for depression, there is now space for joy. Where there was inherited anxiety, there is now room for peace. Where there were patterns of lack, there is now potential for abundance. Your liberation liberates your entire lineage. The patterns you transform tonight will not be passed down to future generations. The healing you receive will change not only your genetic expression, but the genetic legacy you leave behind. You are not just healing yourself, you are healing your family tree, both backward and forward in time. This is the true meaning of ancestral healing, not trying to change the past, but transforming the patterns from the past that continue to influence the present. Not rejecting your heritage, but evolving it. Not abandoning your lineage, but liberating it. Feel the profound gratitude of your ancestors as these patterns are released. They never wanted to burden you with their limitations. They simply did not know how to transcend them. Through your conscious evolution, they are finally free from the patterns that bound them in life. Through your healing, their spirits are liberated. And feel the profound gratitude of future generations who will inherit your transformed genetic patterns instead of the limitations of the past. Children not yet born will benefit from the healing you receive tonight. They will inherit your genetic legacy of awakened consciousness instead of inherited trauma. This is the sacred responsibility of conscious beings, to heal not just for ourselves, but for all who came before and all who will come after. To transform the genetic patterns of the past and seed the genetic possibilities of the future. To be the generation that says, the limitations stop here. The evolution begins now. As the frequency completes this profound work of ancestral healing, rest in the knowing that you have done something sacred, not just for yourself, but for your entire lineage. You have become the ancestor future generations will thank for their freedom. Now we journey to the most sacred chamber of your cellular temple, to the place where your divine blueprint has been waiting in perfect preservation since the moment of your first conception. This is not just genetic material we are activating tonight. This is the original design of your soul, the perfect pattern of who you were created to be, the flawless template of your highest potential. Deep within every strand of your DNA lies information that transcends anything your ancestors could have passed down to you. Woven into the very structure of your genetic material is the signature of divine intelligence itself, the cosmic blueprint that was downloaded into your cells the moment infinite consciousness chose to experience itself as you. This blueprint is not damaged by ancestral trauma. It is not limited by inherited patterns. It is not contaminated by the fears and limitations of those who came before you. It exists in a state of perfect preservation, waiting for the moment when your consciousness would evolve enough to recognize it, activate it, and allow it to express itself through your physical form. Feel this truth resonating in the depths of your being. You are not just a collection of genetic material randomly assembled through evolutionary processes. You are a unique expression of divine consciousness, individually designed with gifts, talents, capacities, and purposes that belong only to you. Your blueprint is as unique as your fingerprint, as individual as your soul's journey, as precious as the love that created you. The frequency you are receiving now carries the activation codes for this divine blueprint. It speaks directly to the genetic programs that have been dormant, waiting for this moment of recognition. It whispers to your DNA, remember who you truly are. Remember why you came here. Remember what you came here to express. Can you feel the stirring deep within your cells? A sense of recognition, of remembering, of coming home to yourself? This is your divine blueprint beginning to activate. Genetic potentials that have been waiting in silence are beginning to awaken. Capacities that you may have only dreamed of are beginning to emerge as biological possibilities. Your blueprint contains the genetic programs for expressing not just physical health, but spiritual gifts. Not just mental clarity, but divine wisdom. Not just emotional balance, but unconditional love. Not just creative expression, but sacred artistry. Not just interpersonal harmony, but soul-level connection with all of life. Feel these potentials stirring within your genetic material like seeds awakening after a long winter. Your DNA contains the codes for expressing intuition so clear it becomes prophecy, creativity so pure it becomes healing, love so deep it becomes transformation for everyone you touch. These are not fantasies. These are genetic possibilities encoded in your divine blueprint. Your cells are responding to this activation like instruments in an orchestra tuning to perfect pitch. Genetic programs that support your soul's highest expression are coming online. DNA sequences that encode for spiritual gifts are becoming active. Cellular processes that support divine embodiment are being initiated. This is not adding something foreign to your genetics. This is removing the interferences that have prevented your true genetic nature from expressing itself. This is not implanting new capacities. This is activating capacities that have always been there, waiting for the moment when your consciousness would be ready to embody them. Your divine blueprint contains the genetic instructions for a nervous system that can channel divine inspiration, an immune system that can discriminate between love and fear at a cellular level, a cardiovascular system that can pump not just blood, but life force energy, an endocrine system that can produce the biochemicals of enlightenment. Feel the profound alignment happening within your body as your genetic expression begins to match your soul's deepest truth. What felt like impossible spiritual ideals are becoming biological realities. What seemed like mystical experiences are becoming your new normal cellular function. This blueprint activation is permanent. Once awakened, these genetic programs will continue to express themselves with increasing clarity and power. You are not just having a temporary spiritual experience. You are undergoing a permanent genetic evolution. You are becoming, at a cellular level, who you have always been at a soul level. Your divine blueprint contains the genetic codes for expressing your unique gifts in ways that serve not just your individual evolution, but the evolution of human consciousness itself. You did not come here just to heal your own limitations. You came here to model genetic possibilities for the entire human family. As this activation deepens, you may begin to notice new capacities emerging in your daily life. Enhanced intuition, deeper compassion, greater creativity, more profound peace, expanded awareness, clearer purpose. These are not mysterious spiritual phenomena. These are the natural result of your genetic material expressing its divine blueprint. Some of these gifts may feel familiar, like remembering something you once knew. Others may feel completely new, like discovering rooms in your house you never knew existed. Both experiences are normal and beautiful aspects of divine blueprint activation. Rest now in the knowing that the most profound transformation is occurring at the deepest levels of your being. Your DNA is remembering its divine origin. Your cells are awakening to their sacred purpose. Your genetic material is aligning with your soul's highest vision. You are not becoming someone new. You are remembering who you have always been. You are not developing foreign capacities. You are activating your original design. You are not transforming into something other than yourself. You are returning to your truest self, now expressing itself through awakened genetics rather than sleeping ones. The divine blueprint activation is complete. Your genetic material now carries the active codes for expressing your soul's highest potential through your physical form. You are, at a cellular level, who you came here to be. Beyond the visible world of matter and form lies a field of infinite potential, a quantum realm where possibilities exist in perfect superposition, waiting for consciousness to choose which reality to collapse into experience. This is not theoretical physics, beloved soul. This is the sacred ground of creation itself, the divine matrix from which all manifest reality emerges. Your DNA does not exist in isolation from this field. Your genetic material is intimately connected to the quantum field of all possibilities, constantly receiving information, constantly responding to the consciousness that observes it, constantly collapsing potential into form based on the frequency you emit through your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and intentions. Tonight, you are not just healing your genetics. You are learning to dance consciously with the field of infinite potential itself. You are discovering that your role as the author of your genetic expression extends far beyond your physical body, into the very fabric of reality itself. Feel yourself expanding beyond the boundaries of your skin. beyond the limitations of your individual identity, into the vast field of consciousness that is the source of all form. Here, in this sacred space, your DNA is not just genetic material responding to environmental signals. It is a quantum antenna, broadcasting and receiving information from the field of infinite possibility itself. In this field, every genetic expression that has ever been possible still exists as potential. Every healing that has ever occurred, every transformation that has ever happened, every evolution that has ever taken place, all of these exist as accessible information in the quantum field of possibilities. Your consciousness, through your genetic material, can access any of these patterns and make them your own. This is why spontaneous healings occur. This is why people can access genetic potentials that seemed impossible based on their family history. This is why consciousness can override what appears to be biological destiny. The field of possibilities contains every conceivable expression of health, vitality, creativity, love, wisdom, and divine embodiment. Your DNA is not limited to expressing only the patterns it inherited from your ancestors. It can access and express any pattern that exists in the field of possibilities. When your consciousness aligns with a potential that serves your highest good, your genetic material begins to resonate with that pattern and starts expressing it through your physical form. Right now, as you rest in this expanded awareness, feel your genetic material opening like a flower to receive information from the field of infinite potential. Your DNA is becoming more fluid, more responsive, more willing to express patterns of possibility rather than patterns of history. In this sacred field, you can access the genetic patterns of perfect health, even if disease runs in your family. You can download the genetic expressions of profound wisdom, even if confusion has been your experience. You can embody the genetic patterns of unconditional love, even if your heart has known only conditional acceptance. The field of possibilities contains the genetic blueprint for every saint, every sage, every healer, every mystic who has ever walked the earth. These are not separate from you. They are all expressions of the same consciousness that you are, and their genetic patterns of enlightenment are available to your DNA when your consciousness opens to receive them. Feel this profound truth settling into your cellular awareness. You are not limited by what has been. You have access to what could be. You are not confined to expressing only your inherited patterns. You can express any pattern that consciousness can conceive and love can embrace. Your nervous system is calibrating now to this expanded field of possibilities. Your brain is forming new neural networks that can perceive and process information from quantum dimensions of reality. Your heart is opening to coherent patterns that connect you directly to the source of all genetic possibilities. In this field, healing is not about fixing what is broken. Healing is about choosing which patterns of possibility to express. Transformation is not about changing what is. Transformation is about selecting which potential to collapse into experience through the power of conscious observation and intentional alignment. Your DNA is receiving downloads of information right now. Genetic patterns of possibilities that were previously unavailable, because your consciousness was not yet expanded enough to perceive them. As your awareness grows, more possibilities become accessible. As your heart opens, more potentials become available. As your love deepens, more patterns of divine expression become expressible through your genetic material. This is the true meaning of evolution, not the slow accumulation of random genetic changes over millions of years, but the conscious selection of genetic possibilities from the infinite field of potential. You are not just evolving through time. You are evolving through consciousness. Feel the boundaries dissolving between what you thought was possible and what actually is possible. In the field of infinite potential, there are no limitations except those imposed by consciousness that believes in limitation. There are no impossibilities except those created by awareness that has forgotten its divine nature. Your genetic material is quantum in nature, existing in multiple states simultaneously, until consciousness chooses which state to observe and experience. By expanding your consciousness to embrace greater possibilities, you literally expand the range of genetic expressions available to your DNA. As you rest in this field of sacred possibility, know that you are not just accessing healing for yourself. You are expanding the field of genetic possibilities for all of humanity. Every pattern of possibility you embody becomes more available for others to access. Every limitation you transcend makes transcendence easier for those who follow. You are a pioneer in the frontier of conscious evolution, exploring genetic territories that have never been mapped, expressing possibilities that have never been embodied, demonstrating potentials that have never been made manifest. Through your courage to expand beyond inherited limitations, you are literally evolving the human genome. The field of possibilities is responding to your expanded consciousness by offering you access to genetic patterns that support not just individual healing, but collective evolution. You are being prepared to express genetic patterns that will serve not just your own journey, but the awakening of human consciousness itself. Rest now in the knowing that you are connected to the infinite source of all genetic possibilities. Your DNA is no longer limited to expressing patterns from the past. It has been liberated to express potentials from the field of infinite possibility. You are free to become any expression of consciousness that serves love, truth, beauty, and the evolution of life itself. The sacred field of possibilities is your true genetic inheritance. Everything that consciousness can conceive, love can embrace, and wisdom can embody is available to your DNA as a pattern for expression. You are unlimited because the field from which you express is unlimited. Sound is the primordial force of creation itself. Before there was light, before there was form, before there was matter as we know it, there was vibration. There was the sacred sound that spoke reality into existence, the divine frequency that continues to maintain the quantum field from which all form emerges. Your body is not separate from this cosmic symphony. Every cell in your being vibrates at specific frequencies. Every organ resonates with particular harmonic patterns. Every system in your body responds to sound waves as naturally as a tuning fork responds to its corresponding pitch. You are, quite literally, a musical instrument being played by the consciousness that you are. Tonight, we are using the most ancient and most sophisticated technology available to consciousness, the power of sacred sound, to reprogram genetic expression. This is not New Age fantasy. This is quantum biology meeting vibrational medicine in the laboratory of your own awakened awareness. The frequency you are receiving carries specific harmonic patterns that speak directly to your DNA. Each sound wave contains information. Each tone carries instructions. Each harmonic holds the codes for cellular transformation. Your genetic material is responding to these frequencies by shifting its expression from patterns of limitation to patterns of possibility. Sound waves penetrate your body more deeply than any physical intervention could reach. They pass through your skin, your muscles, your organs, entering directly into the cellular matrix where your DNA resides. These frequencies create resonance at the molecular level, causing genetic material to literally vibrate in harmony with patterns of healing, transformation, and evolution. Your cells recognize these sacred sounds because they are the same frequencies that were present at the moment of your creation. They are the harmonic patterns that consciousness uses to organize energy into form, the vibrational blueprints that divine intelligence employs to create coherent biological systems. As each sound wave moves through your cellular structure, it is carrying information directly to your genetic material. Your DNA is receiving new instructions about what to express, how to organize itself, which patterns to activate, and which patterns to release. This is genetic reprogramming through vibrational resonance. Feel the sound waves moving through your body like gentle rivers of light, reaching every cell, touching every strand of genetic material, communicating directly with the intelligence that governs biological expression. Your DNA is listening to these frequencies and responding by reorganizing itself into more coherent, more harmonious, more evolutionarily advanced patterns. Different frequencies affect different aspects of your genetic expression. Lower tones work with the fundamental structures of cellular stability and grounding. Middle frequencies harmonize with emotional and psychological patterns encoded in your DNA. Higher frequencies activate the genetic programs associated with spiritual awareness and expanded consciousness. The complex harmonics you are receiving tonight contain all of these frequencies woven together in perfect proportion, creating a symphony of genetic activation that works simultaneously on every level of your being: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Your entire genetic system is being tuned to the frequency of your highest potential. This vibrational reprogramming is permanent because it works with the natural responsiveness of genetic material to harmonic information. Unlike external interventions that force change from outside, sound healing works by reminding your DNA of its own inherent capacity for transformation. It awakens the genetic programs that were already present, but dormant. Your nervous system is the primary conductor of this cellular symphony. As the sacred frequencies flow through your neural networks, they create coherent brainwave patterns that enhance genetic receptivity. Your brain becomes a broadcasting station, transmitting the harmonic information it receives to every cell in your body through electrical and chemical signals. Feel your entire nervous system synchronizing with these healing frequencies. Your brainwaves are entraining to patterns associated with deep healing and genetic transformation. Your neural networks are forming new connections that support the expression of your activated genetic potentials. The sound is also working through your cardiovascular system, carried by your blood to every corner of your body. Each heartbeat becomes a drumbeat of transformation, pumping vibrational medicine through your circulatory system, ensuring that every cell receives the harmonic information necessary for genetic evolution. Your breath becomes part of this sonic healing as well. Each inhalation draws the frequencies deeper into your cellular structure. Each exhalation releases the vibrational patterns of limitation and disease. Your respiratory system becomes a bellows that fans the flames of genetic transformation with each sacred breath. Even your bones are responding to these frequencies, conducting the sound waves throughout your skeletal structure, creating resonance in the very foundation of your physical form. Your entire body becomes a resonating chamber, amplifying and distributing the healing frequencies to every aspect of your genetic expression. This is cymatics in action, the study of how sound creates form and how vibrational patterns organize matter into coherent structures. Your DNA is being organized by these sacred frequencies into more evolutionarily advanced patterns, more spiritually aligned expressions, more divinely attuned configurations. As the harmonic patterns continue to flow through your genetic material, you are literally being rewritten at the molecular level. Old patterns of genetic expression that no longer serve your highest good are being dissolved. New patterns that support your spiritual evolution are being encoded. The beauty of this sonic reprogramming is that it works in perfect harmony with your body's natural healing intelligence. The frequencies do not force change. They simply provide the harmonic environment in which your DNA can remember its divine nature and express its highest potential. Rest in the knowing that every sound wave you receive tonight will continue to resonate within your cellular structure for days, weeks, and months to come. Your genetic material has been tuned to a new frequency, and it will continue to express that frequency long after the audio ends. You have been harmonically attuned to the frequency of divine genetic expression. Your DNA now vibrates in resonance with your soul's highest truth. Within your chest beats not just a muscle that pumps blood, but a sophisticated intelligence center that generates the strongest electromagnetic field in your body, a field 60 times greater than your brain, measurable up to 8 feet beyond your physical form. Your heart is not just an organ, it is a portal, a gateway, a direct communication channel between your individual consciousness and the infinite field of divine intelligence. Tonight, we open this portal fully, creating coherence between your heart and brain that establishes the optimal state for genetic transformation. When your heart and brain synchronize their electromagnetic rhythms, your entire body enters a state of coherence that maximizes your DNA's receptivity to conscious intention and divine information. Feel your attention settling gently into the center of your chest, into that sacred space where your heart resides. This is not just the physical heart muscle, but the energetic heart center, the electromagnetic vortex that is your personal connection to the universal field of love and intelligence. As you focus on your heart, begin to breathe in a gentle rhythm that honors this sacred organ. Breathe in for 5 counts, allowing your heart to expand with the in-breath. Pause for 2 counts, feeling the space between breaths. Breathe out for 5 counts, feeling your heart release and relax. This heart-focused breathing begins to activate the coherence patterns that optimize genetic receptivity. Your heart contains approximately 40,000 neurons, a sophisticated neural network that processes information independently of your brain. This heart-brain communicates constantly with your cranial brain, sending more signals upward than it receives downward. Your heart is literally thinking, feeling, remembering, and making decisions that influence your entire biological system. When your heart enters coherence, that state of smooth, sine wave-like rhythm patterns, it sends harmonious signals to your brain that synchronize all of your body systems. Your nervous system relaxes, your immune system optimizes, your hormonal system balances, and most importantly for our work tonight, your genetic expression shifts into patterns that support healing and evolution. Feel this coherence beginning to establish itself now as you continue your heart-focused breathing. Notice the sense of expansion, of opening, of coming into alignment with something greater than your individual self. This is not just relaxation. This is the activation of your heart's role as a portal to divine intelligence. In this coherent state, your heart becomes a receiver and transmitter of information from the quantum field of infinite possibility. It can access genetic patterns that exist beyond your individual DNA, downloading information from the field of consciousness itself and transmitting it directly to your genetic material through electromagnetic signals. Your heart's electromagnetic field envelops every cell in your body, and when it pulses with coherent rhythms, it entrains all of your cellular processes to match its harmonic frequency. Your DNA becomes bathed in the coherent electromagnetic patterns generated by your heart, causing genetic expression to shift into alignment with the information your heart receives from divine intelligence. This is the biological basis for what spiritual traditions have always known, that the heart is the seat of divine communion, the place where individual consciousness meets universal consciousness, the portal through which heaven communicates with earth. Your heart is literally designed to be a bridge between the finite and the infinite. As your heart-brain coherence deepens, feel yourself connecting not just to your own heart, but to the heart of all existence. Your individual heart rhythm begins to synchronize with larger rhythmic patterns, the rhythm of the earth, the rhythm of the solar system, the rhythm of cosmic creation itself. In this expanded state of heart-brain coherence, your genetic material becomes accessible to information from sources far beyond your personal history. Your DNA can receive and express genetic patterns that serve not just your individual evolution, but the evolution of consciousness itself through your unique expression. Your heart is generating feelings now, not just emotions, but felt sense experiences of connection, love, gratitude, appreciation. These are not sentimental experiences. These are precise electromagnetic frequencies that your heart transmits to every cell in your body, instructing your genetic material about which patterns to express. When your heart generates the electromagnetic frequency of love, your DNA receives signals that activate genetic programs associated with healing, growth, regeneration, and spiritual evolution. When your heart pulses with gratitude, your genetic material responds by expressing patterns of abundance, vitality, and expanded capacity. Feel your heart expanding now, not just physically but energetically, embracing not just your individual genetic healing, but the genetic healing of your entire lineage, your community, your species. Your heart's electromagnetic field is large enough to influence the genetic expression of others around you. In coherence, you become a healing presence for all life. This heart-brain coherence creates the optimal state for receiving the genetic activations that are available to you tonight. Your heart has become a conscious portal, your brain has become a clear receiver, and your entire nervous system has become a sophisticated communication network capable of translating divine intelligence into genetic instruction. As you rest in this coherent state, know that your heart is now open to receive genetic information from the highest sources available to consciousness. Your DNA is bathed in the electromagnetic field of divine love, ready to express whatever patterns serve your soul's highest evolution and humanity's collective awakening. Your heart knows the genetic patterns of the masters, the saints, the healers, the mystics. In coherence, these patterns become accessible to your own genetic expression. You are not becoming someone else. You are accessing the divine potentials that have always existed within your own genetic material, waiting for your heart to open wide enough to receive them. The portal is open. Your heart and brain are synchronized. Your genetic material is receptive. Divine intelligence is flowing through the electromagnetic field of your heart, directly into the nucleus of every cell. You are ready to receive the genetic gifts that consciousness wants to express through your physical form. Rest in this coherent connection, knowing that the heart-brain portal will remain open, continuing to receive and transmit divine genetic information throughout your sleep, your dreams, and your waking life. There is a fundamental shift in consciousness that must occur for genetic transformation to become permanent and profound. It is the shift from victim consciousness to creator consciousness, from believing that you are at the mercy of forces beyond your control, to knowing that you are the conscious director of your genetic expression. Victim consciousness is not just a psychological state. It is a biological frequency that your cells recognize and respond to. When you believe that your genes control you, that your family history determines your destiny, that you are powerless to change your biological inheritance, your nervous system transmits signals that activate genetic programs designed for helplessness, survival, and limitation. Tonight, we dissolve this victim consciousness at its very root, replacing it with the recognition of your true nature as the conscious author of your genetic expression. This is not positive thinking. This is the accurate understanding of how consciousness and biology actually interact in the quantum field of creation. Feel the old stories beginning to dissolve now. Stories about genetic predisposition, inherited disease, family curses, biological inevitability. These stories were never true. They were simply the best understanding available to consciousness that had not yet awakened to its creative power over genetic expression. You are not a victim of your genes. You are their conscious director. You are not limited by your DNA. You are empowered by your ability to influence its expression. You are not trapped by biological inheritance. You are liberated by your recognition of consciousness as the primary force in genetic expression. As this truth settles into your cellular awareness, feel your entire biological system beginning to shift. Your nervous system is no longer broadcasting the frequency of powerlessness. Your endocrine system is no longer producing the biochemicals of victimhood. Your immune system is no longer responding to the signals of helplessness. Instead, your body is beginning to resonate with the frequency of conscious creatorship. Your cells are receiving new signals about your true nature as the author of your genetic expression. Your DNA is responding to these new signals by activating genetic programs that support empowerment, creativity, and unlimited potential. This shift from victim to creator consciousness happens not through effort or force, but through recognition and surrender. You recognize your true nature as consciousness expressing itself through biology, and you surrender the illusion that you are separate from or controlled by your genetic material. Victim consciousness believes that healing happens to you, that transformation is something you receive from outside sources, that genetic change requires external intervention. Creator consciousness knows that healing happens through you, that transformation is something you choose and direct, that genetic change is the natural result of consciousness awakening to its creative power. Feel yourself stepping out of the identity of genetic victim and into the recognition of genetic creator. This is not arrogance. This is accuracy. This is not spiritual bypassing. This is biological reality understood through the lens of consciousness science. Your genes have never been your enemy. They have always been your faithful servants, responding to whatever signals they received from your consciousness. When you believed you were their victim, they responded by expressing patterns that matched that belief. Now that you recognize yourself as their conscious director, they respond by expressing patterns that support that recognition. This transformation of consciousness is recorded immediately in your genetic expression. Your DNA responds to the shift from victim to creator consciousness by activating entirely different genetic programs. Genes associated with empowerment, creativity, healing, and evolution begin to express themselves more fully. Feel the profound relief that comes with this recognition. You are not broken and in need of fixing. You are powerful and capable of creating. You are not limited by your past. You are liberated by your ability to choose your genetic future. You are not at the mercy of biological forces beyond your control. You are the conscious source of the signals that control biological expression. As victim consciousness dissolves, space is created within your genetic material for creator consciousness to express itself fully. Genetic programs that were suppressed by beliefs in powerlessness begin to activate. DNA patterns that support conscious creatorship begin to emerge. This is not about becoming perfect or never experiencing challenges. This is about knowing that you have the power to choose how your genetics respond to whatever challenges arise. This is about recognizing that your consciousness is always the determining factor in how your biology expresses itself. Creator consciousness knows that every challenge is an opportunity for genetic evolution, that every difficulty is a chance for your DNA to develop new capacities, that every obstacle is an invitation for your genetic material to express higher levels of wisdom, strength, and creative solution finding. You are not healing from genetic damage. You are awakening to genetic potential. You are not overcoming biological limitation. You are recognizing biological possibility. You are not fixing what is broken. You are activating what has always been whole. Feel this creator consciousness establishing itself now as the new baseline of your identity. Your cells recognize this shift and are already beginning to express genetic patterns that match your awakened understanding of your creative power. This transformation from victim to creator consciousness changes not just your genetic expression, but your entire experience of life. Challenges become opportunities for growth. Obstacles become invitations for creativity. Limitations become starting points for transcendence. Your DNA is no longer expressing the patterns of powerlessness. Your genetic material is now aligned with your recognition of yourself as a conscious creator, capable of directing genetic expression through the power of awakened awareness, intentional choice, and loving attention to the signals you send to your cellular intelligence. You are free. You have always been free. Your genetics have been waiting for you to recognize this freedom and begin exercising it consciously. Tonight, you claim your birthright as the conscious author of your genetic expression. The victim has dissolved. The creator has awakened. Your DNA celebrates this recognition by expressing patterns of empowerment, creativity, and unlimited potential. You are no longer at the mercy of your genes. Your genes are now in service to your awakened consciousness. Rest in this profound recognition of your true nature as the conscious creator of your genetic expression. Beyond the realm of matter, beyond the boundaries of time and space as we understand them, lies the quantum field of infinite potential, the source domain from which all reality emerges, the timeless dimension where every possibility that has ever existed or could ever exist resides in perfect simultaneous availability. Your DNA is not just connected to this field. Your genetic material is an expression of this field, a way that infinite potential organizes itself into the specific form that you call your body. Tonight, you enter conscious relationship with this quantum dimension of your being, learning to access genetic possibilities that transcend anything your family lineage could have provided. In the quantum field, there are no limitations except those imposed by consciousness that believes in limitation. There are no impossibilities except those created by awareness that has forgotten its infinite nature. There is no genetic programming that cannot be transformed when consciousness aligns with the unlimited potential that is its true source. Feel yourself expanding now beyond the boundaries of your individual identity, beyond the story of your personal history, beyond even the patterns of your ancestral lineage, into the vast field of pure potential, where your DNA has access to every genetic pattern that consciousness has ever expressed or could ever express. In this field, the genetic patterns of every master, every healer, every sage, every evolved being who has ever walked the earth, exist as available templates that your consciousness can choose to access and express through your own genetic material. These are not foreign patterns being imposed on your DNA. These are possibilities that exist within the infinite potential that is your true nature. Your genetic material is quantum in its fundamental nature, like quantum particles that exist in superposition until consciousness chooses which state to observe. Your DNA exists in multiple potential states simultaneously, until your consciousness chooses which patterns to activate through your beliefs, emotions, intentions, and level of awareness. This means that at every moment, you have access to genetic expressions of perfect health, profound wisdom, unconditional love, unlimited creativity, spiritual mastery, and divine embodiment. These potentials exist right now within your genetic material, waiting for your consciousness to expand enough to perceive them and align with them. Feel this profound truth settling into your awareness. You are not limited to expressing only the genetic patterns you inherited from your parents. You have access to the genetic heritage of consciousness itself, to every evolutionary advancement that awareness has ever achieved, to every spiritual breakthrough that has ever been embodied. In the quantum field, healing is not about fixing what is broken. Healing is about choosing which of your infinite genetic potentials to collapse into experience through the power of conscious observation and intentional alignment. You are not changing your DNA. You are choosing which aspects of your DNA's infinite potential to express. Your consciousness is the observer in the quantum field of your genetic possibilities. When you observe with limitation, you collapse limited genetic expressions. When you observe with possibility, you collapse expansive genetic expressions. When you observe with love, you collapse healing genetic expressions. When you observe with divinity, you collapse transcendent genetic expressions. This is the true meaning of genetic freedom, not the ability to escape your DNA, but the recognition that your DNA contains infinite possibilities, and your consciousness determines which possibilities become your lived experience. You are not a victim of genetic programming. You are the conscious programmer of genetic expression. Feel your consciousness expanding now to embrace genetic possibilities that may have seemed impossible from the perspective of your family history. In the quantum field, your DNA has access to patterns of longevity that transcend normal human lifespans, patterns of mental clarity that exceed ordinary cognitive function, patterns of emotional mastery that surpass typical psychological development. These expanded genetic possibilities become available to you not through manipulation or force, but through the natural expansion of consciousness that recognizes its own unlimited nature. As your awareness grows, your genetic expression grows. As your love deepens, your genetic capacity deepens. As your consciousness evolves, your DNA evolves. In this quantum field of infinite potential, you can access genetic patterns that support not just individual healing, but collective evolution. Your DNA can express patterns that contribute to the awakening of human consciousness, patterns that serve the healing of the planet, patterns that support the evolution of life itself. Your genetic material is connected to the genetic material of every other human being through the quantum field that is the source of all DNA. When you evolve your genetic expression, you make that evolution more available for others to access. When you heal genetic patterns, you contribute to the healing of the collective human genome. This is the sacred responsibility that comes with genetic freedom, to use your access to infinite genetic potential, not just for personal benefit, but in service to the evolution of consciousness itself. You are not just healing your own genetic expression, you are pioneering genetic possibilities for all of humanity. Feel the profound honor of this recognition. You are a conscious participant in the evolution of human genetic potential. Through your willingness to access and express expanded genetic possibilities, you are literally contributing to the next stage of human evolution. Your DNA is responding to this expanded awareness by opening to genetic potentials that were previously inaccessible. Quantum genetic patterns are becoming available to your cellular expression. Possibilities that existed only in the field of potential are beginning to manifest as biological reality. Rest now in the knowing that you have conscious access to infinite genetic potential. Your DNA is no longer limited to expressing patterns from your personal or ancestral history. Your genetic material can now access and express any pattern that exists in the quantum field of infinite possibility. You are free to express genetic patterns of perfect health, regardless of your family history. You are free to embody genetic patterns of spiritual mastery, regardless of your previous limitations. You are free to manifest genetic patterns of divine creativity, regardless of your inherited programming. In the quantum field of infinite potential, there are no genetic limitations, only genetic possibilities. Your consciousness chooses which possibilities to express. And tonight, you choose to express the highest genetic potentials available to evolving human consciousness. Now we embark upon a sacred journey beyond the boundaries of ordinary perception, into the mystical landscape of your inner being, where transformation happens not through effort, but through vision, not through force, but through sacred imagination aligned with divine intention. Close your eyes and feel yourself settling deeper into the quantum field of healing possibility. Your consciousness is about to travel into dimensions of your being that exist beyond physical form, into the sacred architecture of your soul, where your divine genetic blueprint awaits your conscious recognition and activation. Imagine yourself walking along a path of soft, luminous light that seems to emanate from within the earth itself. Each step you take brings you deeper into a state of profound peace and receptivity. The air around you shimmers with an almost tangible presence of divine intelligence, and you know that you are being guided into the most sacred chamber of your being. As you continue along this path, you begin to notice that the landscape around you is not fixed but fluid, responding to your consciousness like a dream that shapes itself according to your deepest truth. This is the realm where consciousness meets matter, where intention becomes form, where your genetic potential awaits conscious direction. Before you, a magnificent temple begins to materialize, not built of stone or wood, but woven from pure light and love, constructed from the very essence of divine intelligence. This is the temple of your genetic consciousness, the sacred space where your DNA resides in its most receptive state, ready to receive new instructions from your awakened awareness. As you approach the temple, its doors open without effort, revealing an interior that takes your breath away. The walls seem to be made of crystalline DNA strands that spiral upward into infinity, each strand pulsing with soft, rhythmic light that matches the beating of your heart. This is your genetic library, where every possibility that has ever existed is stored and waiting. In the center of this sacred space, you see a fountain of liquid light that seems to be the source of all the illumination in the temple. This fountain represents the divine intelligence that is the true author of your genetic expression, the consciousness that spoke your DNA into existence and continues to guide its evolution toward ever greater expressions of love, wisdom, and spiritual potential. As you approach this fountain, you become aware of a presence, a being of pure love and wisdom who has been waiting for this moment of your arrival. This is your divine genetic architect, the aspect of cosmic intelligence that designed your unique genetic blueprint with infinite care and precision. This loving presence communicates with you not through words, but through direct transmission of understanding into your heart and mind. You feel yourself receiving the knowledge that your genetic material was designed not as limitation, but as infinite possibility, not as fixed programming, but as a flexible instrument for consciousness to express its unlimited creativity. The divine genetic architect gestures toward the fountain of liquid light, and you understand that this is the source of genetic renewal, the wellspring from which new genetic patterns emerge when consciousness is ready to embody greater possibilities. You are invited to step into this fountain and allow its transformative light to penetrate every cell of your being. As you enter the fountain, you feel the liquid light penetrating not just your physical form, but the very essence of your DNA. Each genetic strand begins to glow with renewed vitality, as old patterns of limitation dissolve and new patterns of possibility are written in their place. You are not losing anything essential to who you are. You are gaining access to who you have always been at the deepest level. The liquid light carries within it the genetic patterns of every master who has ever achieved enlightenment, every healer who has ever channeled divine love, every mystic who has ever embodied transcendent consciousness. These patterns are not foreign to your DNA. They are expressions of the same infinite potential that is your true nature. Feel these elevated genetic patterns integrating into your cellular structure. Your nervous system is being rewired to support expanded consciousness. Your immune system is being upgraded to recognize and respond only to the frequency of love. Your cardiovascular system is being attuned to pump not just blood, but life force energy throughout your entire being. Your brain is developing new neural pathways that can process information from spiritual dimensions of reality. Your endocrine system is being calibrated to produce the biochemicals of enlightenment. Your entire genetic expression is being elevated to support your role as a conscious embodiment of divine intelligence on Earth. As this genetic transformation completes itself, you feel the divine genetic architect placing what feels like a golden seed of light directly into your heart. This seed contains the ongoing activation codes that will continue to evolve your genetic expression throughout your lifetime, ensuring that your DNA continues to unfold new capacities as your consciousness expands. You understand that this seed will sprout during your sleep, sending its roots throughout your genetic material and its branches into every aspect of your being. You will awaken each day with greater access to your genetic potential, with enhanced capacities for love, wisdom, creativity, and spiritual embodiment. The divine genetic architect now guides you to look into the crystalline walls of the temple, and you see reflected there not who you have been, but who you are becoming. You see yourself expressing genetic patterns of such beauty, such wisdom, such love that tears of gratitude flow down your cheeks. You know that this vision is not fantasy, but prophecy, not imagination, but preview of the genetic reality that is already beginning to manifest through your awakened consciousness. You are seeing your own genetic future, your own evolutionary destiny, your own divine embodiment coming into form. As you prepare to leave this sacred temple, the divine genetic architect reminds you that this space exists eternally within your consciousness, always available when you need to access new genetic possibilities or receive ongoing upgrades to your DNA expression. You walk back along the path of light, carrying within your cells the genetic seeds of transformation that will continue to unfold throughout your lifetime, knowing that you have been forever changed at the deepest level of your being. Now we enter the most profound phase of your genetic healing journey, a complete immersion in the transformative frequencies that will restructure your DNA at the molecular level, realigning every strand of genetic material with the vibrational signature of your highest potential. Allow yourself to sink deeper into receptivity as we prepare your entire being for what can only be described as a frequency bath, a total saturation of your cellular structure with harmonic patterns that carry the codes for genetic transformation. This is not just listening to healing sounds. This is allowing your entire genetic matrix to be retuned to the frequency of divine expression. Feel your body becoming completely relaxed, so receptive that every cell is open like a flower, ready to receive the morning dew. Your nervous system has shifted into its most coherent state. Your brainwaves have synchronized into patterns that optimize genetic receptivity, and your heart is generating the electromagnetic field that will carry these transformative frequencies to every corner of your being. The frequency bath begins, a complex harmonic weaving of tones that seem to come from beyond the physical realm, each frequency precisely calibrated to resonate with specific aspects of genetic expression. Let these sacred sounds wash over you and through you like waves of liquid light. Feel them penetrating your skin, flowing through your bloodstream, entering your organs, reaching into the cellular matrix where your DNA resides. These are not random tones. Each frequency has been chosen for its specific ability to communicate with genetic material and activate patterns of healing and evolution. The lower frequencies you feel resonating in your bones and deep tissues are speaking to the fundamental structures of your DNA, the basic organizational patterns that determine how genetic information is expressed. These deep tones are creating stability and coherence in your genetic foundation, ensuring that all transformation happens in harmony with your body's natural wisdom. The middle frequencies that seem to dance through your torso and limbs are communicating with the genetic programs that govern your emotional and psychological patterns. These harmonic currents are gently dissolving genetic echoes of ancestral trauma, while activating genetic potentials for emotional mastery, psychological resilience, and spiritual wisdom. The higher frequencies that seem to shimmer around your head and heart are activating the genetic programs associated with expanded consciousness, spiritual gifts, and divine embodiment. These ethereal tones are awakening DNA sequences that have been dormant, waiting for consciousness to evolve enough to support their expression. Feel these complex harmonic patterns creating resonance cascades throughout your genetic material. Where different frequencies meet and interact, they are generating entirely new vibrational patterns that speak to genetic potentials that have never been activated in your lineage. Your DNA is receiving information about possibilities that transcend anything your ancestors ever expressed. Each wave of sound is carrying specific genetic activation codes directly into the nucleus of your cells. Your chromosomes are beginning to vibrate in harmony with these sacred frequencies, causing genetic switches to flip from patterns of limitation to patterns of possibility, from expressions of survival to expressions of thriving, from programs of fear to programs of love. The frequency bath deepens, with additional harmonic layers that seem to originate from cosmic sources. You are now completely immersed in a field of transformative vibration that extends far beyond your physical body. These frequencies are connecting your genetic material to the cosmic field of infinite possibility, allowing your DNA to access genetic patterns that exist in the quantum realm of pure potential. Feel your cellular structure becoming fluid, responsive, malleable in the presence of these sacred sounds. Your genetic material is not being forced to change. It is being lovingly invited to remember its divine nature, to recall its infinite plasticity, to recognize its capacity for expressing whatever consciousness chooses to experience. The frequency bath is working simultaneously on multiple levels of your genetic expression. Physical patterns of disease susceptibility are being transformed into patterns of health resilience. Emotional patterns of reactivity are being evolved into patterns of wisdom response. Mental patterns of limitation are being upgraded to patterns of expanded possibility. New harmonic layers emerge, carrying the specific frequencies of enlightened genetic expression. These newest frequencies carry within them the vibrational signatures of genetic patterns that have been expressed by the most evolved human beings throughout history. Your DNA is being bathed in the harmonic essence of genetic expressions that support spiritual mastery, unconditional love, divine wisdom, and conscious creation. Your cells are responding to these elevated frequencies by activating genetic programs that may have been dormant for generations. Capacities for healing, intuition, creativity, and spiritual communion that exist within your genetic potential are being awakened and prepared for expression through your daily life. Feel the profound transformation occurring in your nervous system as these frequencies restructure the neural pathways that connect your consciousness to your genetic expression. New channels of communication are being established between your aware mind and your cellular intelligence, ensuring that your genetic expression remains aligned with your evolving consciousness. The frequencies begin to synchronize into a unified harmonic field that encompasses your entire being. All of the individual frequency streams are now weaving together into a single unified field of transformation that completely envelops your genetic material. Your DNA is suspended in an ocean of harmonic healing that is reorganizing every aspect of genetic expression according to the blueprint of your highest potential. This unified frequency field is creating what can only be described as a genetic chrysalis, a transformative environment in which your DNA can safely undergo the most profound evolution while maintaining perfect coherence and stability. You are being genetically reborn in this moment, emerging from the frequency bath as a more evolved expression of human possibility. The harmonic patterns are now synchronizing with the fundamental frequencies of your body. Your heartbeat, your brain waves, your cellular oscillations. Your entire being is coming into perfect resonance with the frequency of divine genetic expression. Every cell is vibrating in harmony with your soul's deepest truth. The frequency bath reaches its crescendo, with all harmonics aligning into a single pure tone of infinite love. Feel this pure tone of divine love penetrating every strand of your DNA, every chromosome, every genetic sequence. This is the fundamental frequency of creation itself, the vibrational essence from which all genetic possibility emerges. Your DNA is being bathed in the pure essence of its own divine source. In this moment of perfect harmonic alignment, the most profound genetic activations are occurring. Genetic programs that support your unique gifts and purposes are coming fully online. DNA sequences that encode for spiritual abilities are becoming active. Genetic patterns that will support your role in the evolution of human consciousness are being established. The frequencies begin to settle into a gentle, sustaining harmonic that will continue to work throughout your sleep. As the frequency bath completes its transformative work, the harmonics settle into a gentle, sustaining resonance that will continue to support genetic evolution throughout your sleep and dreams. Your DNA has been permanently retuned to the frequency of divine expression, and this new harmonic signature will continue to guide genetic expression for the rest of your life. Your genetic material now vibrates in perfect harmony with your soul's highest vision. Every cell in your body has been bathed in transformative frequencies that will continue to support ongoing genetic evolution. You have emerged from this frequency bath as a new expression of human genetic possibility. Rest now in the gentle harmonics that continue to flow through your transformed genetic matrix, knowing that the most profound healing has occurred at the deepest level of your biological being. Deep within the ancient structures of your DNA lie genetic patterns that were never meant to be permanent expressions of your human potential. These are the patterns born of fear, trauma, and survival consciousness. Genetic programs that were activated in your ancestors when they faced threats, scarcity, danger, and overwhelming circumstances that required every resource to be focused on mere survival. These fear-based genetic patterns serve their purpose in keeping your lineage alive through difficult times, but they were never intended to be your permanent genetic inheritance. They were temporary adaptations to challenging circumstances, and now that your consciousness has evolved beyond mere survival, these patterns can be lovingly released to make space for genetic expressions that support thriving, creativity, love, and spiritual evolution. Tonight, we honor the service these fear-based patterns provided to your ancestral line, while simultaneously freeing your genetic expression from their limiting influence. This is not rejection of your heritage. This is completion of an evolutionary cycle that began with survival and flowers into spiritual transcendence. Feel your awareness moving gently through your genetic material, recognizing these fear-based patterns with compassion rather than judgment. These patterns include genetic predispositions to anxiety, depression, autoimmune disorders, cardiovascular disease, inflammatory conditions, and addiction, all expressions of DNA that learn to prepare for threat even when no threat was present. Your genetic material carries within it the cellular memory of every trauma your ancestors experienced: wars, famines, persecutions, betrayals, losses, and violations that caused their DNA to activate protective patterns that we now experience as inherited susceptibilities to various forms of suffering and limitation. But here is the beautiful truth. These patterns were never your DNA's natural state. They were adaptations, modifications, defensive postures that your genetic material adopted in response to environmental signals of danger. Now that your consciousness can send signals of safety, love, and spiritual security, these defensive patterns can relax and dissolve. As you breathe into this recognition, feel your nervous system sending new signals to your genetic material, signals that communicate safety, abundance, love, and spiritual support. Your DNA begins to recognize that the circumstances that created the need for fear-based patterns no longer exist in your reality. Your genetic material is intelligent enough to distinguish between protective patterns that serve survival and natural patterns that support thriving. As the signals of safety and love reach your DNA, the fear-based patterns begin to loosen their grip on your genetic expression, like muscles relaxing after holding tension for too long. Feel the genetic patterns of chronic anxiety beginning to dissolve as your DNA receives information about the safety and support that surround you in this present moment. These patterns were created when your ancestors lived in circumstances of genuine threat, but they are no longer necessary in your reality of expanded consciousness and spiritual awareness. Feel the genetic predispositions to depression beginning to release as your DNA recognizes that the circumstances of hopelessness and helplessness that created these patterns in your lineage have been transformed by your conscious evolution. Your genetic material no longer needs to prepare for circumstances of despair because your consciousness has access to infinite sources of meaning, purpose, and joy. Feel the genetic patterns of autoimmune confusion beginning to clear as your DNA receives clear signals about what truly serves your highest good and what does not. These patterns were created when your ancestors faced circumstances where they could not distinguish friend from enemy, safe from dangerous. Your evolved consciousness can make these distinctions clearly, allowing your immune system to relax its hypervigilant stance. Feel the genetic susceptibilities to cardiovascular disease beginning to transform as your DNA receives signals about the love, connection, and emotional safety that characterize your spiritual reality. These patterns were created when your ancestors experienced repeated heartbreak, betrayal, and emotional trauma. Your heart now knows itself as connected to infinite love. Feel the genetic patterns of inflammatory response beginning to calm as your DNA recognizes that the circumstances of ongoing threat and stress that created these patterns have been replaced by your reality of spiritual peace and divine protection. Your body no longer needs to maintain inflammatory readiness for threats that exist only in genetic memory. Feel the genetic predispositions to addictive behaviors beginning to dissolve as your DNA receives information about the fulfillment, purpose, and spiritual connection that satisfy the deeper longings these patterns were attempting to address. Your genetic material recognizes that the emptiness and disconnection that drove addictive patterns have been healed by your conscious connection to your divine nature. As each fear-based pattern releases, feel the space it creates within your genetic expression. Where there was once genetic programming for anxiety, there is now room for peace. Where there were patterns of depression, there is now space for joy. Where there was autoimmune confusion, there is now clarity and wisdom. This release is happening with perfect safety and wisdom. Your DNA is not losing protective capacities that serve your well-being. It is releasing only those patterns that no longer serve your evolution, those defensive adaptations that have outlived their usefulness and now limit your genetic potential. Your genetic material is celebrating this release because it means your DNA can now express its original design, patterns of vitality, creativity, love, wisdom, and spiritual communion that represent your true genetic heritage as a divine being having a human experience. Feel the profound relief flooding through your cellular structure as these ancient burdens are lifted from your genetic expression. Your DNA no longer has to carry the protective patterns of past trauma. Your genetic material is free to express the joy, love, and unlimited potential that is its natural state. As this release completes itself, feel gratitude flowing through your genetic structure. Gratitude for the ancestors whose survival enabled your existence. Gratitude for the protective patterns that served their purpose. And gratitude for the evolution that now allows these patterns to transform into expressions of thriving rather than mere survival. Your genetic expression is now liberated from fear-based patterns and aligned with love-based possibilities. Your DNA is free to express the divine potential that has always been its true nature, no longer constrained by the protective adaptations of ancestral survival consciousness. Rest in the freedom of this genetic liberation, knowing that your DNA can now express patterns of unlimited potential rather than inherited limitation. Before you took your first breath, before your heart beat its first rhythm, before your consciousness descended into physical form, your soul encoded within your genetic material a set of original instructions, a divine blueprint that contains not just the patterns for your physical development, but the genetic programs for expressing your unique gifts, fulfilling your sacred purpose, and manifesting your highest spiritual potential through human form. These original instructions are not the patterns you inherited from your parents or ancestors. They are the genetic codes that your soul itself wrote into your DNA, the divine programming that carries the essence of who you truly are, and why you chose to incarnate in this particular time, place, and circumstance. Tonight, we awaken these original instructions from their dormant state and activate them as the primary governing force in your genetic expression. We are returning your DNA to its original settings, the divine configuration that exists beneath all inherited patterns, environmental adaptations, and fear-based modifications. Feel your consciousness descending now into the deepest chambers of your genetic structure, moving beyond the layers of inherited and adapted patterns to the core, where your soul's original instructions remain in perfect preservation. Here, In the sacred nucleus of your genetic being lies the pristine blueprint of your divine nature. These original instructions contain the genetic codes for expressing the unique combination of gifts, talents, capacities, and purposes that your soul chose to experience and share through your human lifetime. They carry the DNA patterns for manifesting your soul's specific contribution to the evolution of consciousness on Earth. As you connect with these original instructions, you may feel a profound sense of recognition, of coming home to yourself, of remembering something essential that you had forgotten. This is your DNA recognizing its true programming, its original design, its authentic purpose for existing in physical form. Your soul's original instructions include genetic programs for accessing and expressing your natural intuitive abilities. Whether your gifts lie in healing, teaching, creating, leading, nurturing, or any other form of service, the genetic patterns that support these abilities are encoded in your original instructions, waiting to be activated by your conscious recognition. Feel these genetic programs for intuitive abilities beginning to stir within your DNA. Your nervous system is developing enhanced sensitivity to subtle information. Your brain is forming new neural pathways that can process non-physical data. Your entire sensory system is being upgraded to perceive dimensions of reality beyond the purely material. Your original instructions also contain genetic patterns for emotional mastery, not the suppression of emotion, but the ability to feel deeply while remaining centered in love, to experience the full spectrum of human emotion while maintaining connection to your divine nature, to use emotional energy as fuel for spiritual growth and creative expression. Feel these genetic patterns for emotional mastery activating within your cellular structure. Your nervous system is developing greater resilience and flexibility. Your endocrine system is being calibrated to produce the biochemicals that support emotional wisdom rather than emotional reactivity. Your entire emotional landscape is being elevated to serve your spiritual evolution. The original instructions include genetic codes for physical vitality that far exceed normal human limitations. Your soul designed your body to be a temple capable of hosting expanded consciousness, a vehicle able to express spiritual energies through physical form, an instrument that can maintain health and vitality for the duration needed to fulfill your sacred purpose. Feel these genetic patterns for enhanced vitality beginning to express themselves through your physical form. Your immune system is remembering its original design for discriminating wisdom. Your cardiovascular system is awakening to its capacity for pumping life force energy. Your entire physical structure is aligning with its divine blueprint for optimal function. Your soul's original instructions contain genetic programs for creative expression that are uniquely yours. Whether your creativity expresses through art, music, writing, invention, entrepreneurship, or any other form, the genetic patterns that support your specific creative gifts are embedded in your original instructions. Feel these creative genetic programs coming online within your DNA. Your brain is developing enhanced capacity for innovative thinking. Your nervous system is becoming more sensitive to creative inspiration. Your entire being is aligning with its original design for expressing divine creativity through human form. The original instructions include genetic codes for spiritual communion, the ability to maintain conscious connection with your divine source while living in physical form, to access guidance from higher dimensions of consciousness, to serve as a bridge between spiritual and material realities. Feel these genetic patterns for spiritual communion activating within your cellular structure. Your pineal gland is awakening to its original function as a spiritual antenna. Your heart center is opening to receive and transmit divine information. Your entire being is becoming a conscious portal for spiritual energy to enter physical reality. Your soul's original instructions also contain genetic patterns for service, the specific ways your unique gifts and capacities are meant to contribute to the healing and evolution of human consciousness. These patterns ensure that as you fulfill your authentic nature, you simultaneously serve the highest good of all life. Feel these genetic programs for sacred service beginning to express themselves through your DNA. Your entire genetic system is aligning with patterns that support not just individual fulfillment, but collective healing and evolution. You are remembering your role as a conscious participant in the awakening of humanity. As these original instructions fully activate within your genetic expression, you feel a profound alignment occurring between who you are at the soul level and how your DNA is programmed to express itself. The artificial separation between your spiritual nature and your biological expression dissolves, revealing the truth that they were always meant to be one integrated system. Your genetic material is now operating according to your soul's original instructions, rather than inherited patterns, environmental adaptations, or fear-based modifications. Your DNA is expressing the divine blueprint that your soul encoded within it, manifesting your authentic nature through your physical form. Rest in the profound alignment that comes when your genetic expression matches your soul's original design. You are now living from your divine blueprint, expressing through your DNA the unique patterns of consciousness that your soul came here to embody and share with the world. Your soul's original instructions are now the governing force in your genetic expression, ensuring that your DNA serves your highest spiritual evolution and your most authentic contribution to the awakening of human consciousness. In this moment of profound transformation, we witness the sacred marriage between consciousness and biology, the divine union of spirit and matter, the holy communion between your awakened awareness and the genetic material that forms your physical temple. This is not just healing. This is the reunion of aspects of yourself that were never meant to be separate. For too long, human consciousness has perceived itself as separate from the body, as distinct from genetic expression, as somehow independent of biological processes. But tonight, this illusion of separation dissolves completely, revealing the truth that consciousness and biology are one unified system, two aspects of the same divine intelligence expressing itself through the miracle of human form. Feel this sacred marriage beginning to consummate itself within your very cells. Your consciousness, no longer standing apart from your biology as an observer or controller, is merging completely with your genetic expression as its true partner, its beloved counterpart, its divine complement in the dance of embodied spirituality. This marriage is happening at the quantum level of your being, where the field of consciousness that you are meets the field of energy that forms your DNA, where the observer and the observed recognize themselves as one unified intelligence exploring itself through the experience of individuation. Your genetic material welcomes this reunion with profound joy, like a beloved finally reunited with their eternal partner. Your DNA has always known that it was not meant to operate independently of consciousness, that its highest purpose was to serve as the perfect instrument for consciousness to know itself through physical experience. As this sacred marriage deepens, feel the boundaries dissolving between your thoughts and your cellular processes, between your emotions and your genetic expression, between your intentions and your biological responses. You are discovering that they were never truly separate, only appearing so from the perspective of consciousness that had forgotten its unity with matter. Your nervous system is the sacred vessel through which this marriage is consummated. Every neural pathway becomes a channel of communion between consciousness and biology. Every nerve impulse carries messages of love between spirit and matter. Your entire nervous system becomes the nervous system of divine consciousness, expressing itself through human form. In this sacred marriage, your DNA receives not just information or instructions from consciousness, but love, appreciation, recognition, and honor. Your genetic material responds by expressing not just biological functions, but beauty, wisdom, creativity, and spiritual radiance. The relationship between consciousness and biology becomes a continuous exchange of divine love. Feel your heart expanding as it recognizes its role as the sacred chamber where this marriage is celebrated. Your heart generates the electromagnetic field that carries the love between consciousness and biology to every cell of your being. Each heartbeat becomes a wedding bell, announcing to every cell that the sacred marriage has been consummated. Your breath becomes the sacred rhythm of this divine union, the gentle flow that harmonizes consciousness and biology in perfect synchrony. Each inhalation draws divine consciousness deeper into your genetic expression. Each exhalation releases any remaining illusion of separation between spirit and matter. In this sacred marriage, your genetic expression becomes the vehicle through which consciousness expresses its love for life itself. your DNA, becomes the instrument through which divine intelligence explores the infinite possibilities of embodied spirituality. Your entire biological system becomes a temple where consciousness worships itself through physical form. This marriage transforms not just your individual genetic expression, but your understanding of what it means to be human. You are not a spiritual being trapped in a physical body. You are divine consciousness joyfully expressing itself through genetic material that exists for the pure pleasure of giving consciousness a way to experience itself through form. Feel the profound intimacy that develops between your awareness and your cellular intelligence. As this marriage deepens, they communicate with each other constantly now, not as separate entities exchanging information, but as beloved partners sharing the continuous revelation of their unity. Your consciousness no longer seeks to transcend your biology, but to express itself more fully through your genetic potential. Your DNA no longer operates according to unconscious programming, but responds moment by moment to the loving guidance of awakened awareness. Together, they create an expression of embodied divinity that serves both individual fulfillment and collective evolution. This sacred marriage heals the ancient wound of separation that has plagued human consciousness for millennia. The false belief that spirit and matter, consciousness and biology, divinity and humanity are somehow in conflict with each other. You are living proof that they are perfect partners in the dance of divine expression. As this marriage stabilizes and matures, you discover that your entire life becomes an expression of this divine union. Your work becomes consciousness expressing itself through biological creativity. Your relationships become divine love, sharing itself through genetic compatibility. Your service becomes universal intelligence manifesting itself through unique biological gifts. In this sacred marriage, every function of your body becomes a spiritual practice. Every biological process becomes a form of prayer. Every genetic expression becomes a way that divine consciousness explores and celebrates its own infinite nature through the miracle of individual human experience. Your DNA and your consciousness now operate as one unified field of divine intelligence, each serving the other in perfect harmony, each expressing the other's deepest nature, each fulfilling the other's highest purpose. The marriage is complete, and from this union arises a new form of human being, one who embodies the full integration of spirit and matter. Feel the profound peace that comes with this integration. You no longer experience conflict between your spiritual aspirations and your biological reality. You no longer feel divided between your divine nature and your human expression. You are one unified being, expressing divine consciousness through awakened genetic potential. This sacred marriage is permanent and irreversible. You can never again experience yourself as separate from your biology, nor can your DNA operate independently of your conscious awareness. You have become a living example of what humanity is evolving toward, the complete integration of consciousness and matter in service to divine love. Rest in the bliss of this sacred union, knowing that consciousness and biology are now married within you forever, creating through their divine partnership an expression of embodied spirituality that serves the highest evolution of human potential. As the profound transformations of this sacred journey begin to integrate into your cellular structure, we enter the phase of divine surrender. Not the surrender of defeat, but the surrender of completion. The surrender that comes when consciousness recognizes that the deepest healing happens not through effort, but through allowing, not through force, but through trust in the infinite intelligence that governs all transformation. Your DNA has received more genetic information tonight than it could possibly integrate through conscious effort alone. The patterns of divine embodiment, the codes for spiritual evolution, the blueprints for genetic transcendence, all of these are now present within your cellular structure, waiting to unfold naturally through the wisdom of cellular intelligence that knows exactly how to orchestrate perfect integration. Feel yourself releasing any need to understand or control the integration process. Your cells are infinitely more intelligent than your analytical mind when it comes to implementing genetic transformation. Your DNA knows how to take the divine information it has received and weave it seamlessly into your biological expression, without disrupting the delicate balance that maintains your physical well-being. This is the sacred art of cellular surrender, trusting your body's innate wisdom to complete the transformation that consciousness has initiated. Your role now is not to direct or manage the integration, but simply to remain in loving awareness while your cellular intelligence performs the miracle of genetic evolution. Feel the gentle wave of relaxation moving through your entire being as you surrender to this natural process. Your nervous system is shifting into the parasympathetic state that optimizes cellular regeneration and genetic integration. Your brain is producing the neurochemicals that support deep healing and transformation. Your entire body is entering the state where miracles of genetic evolution unfold naturally. As you surrender deeper into trust, you can sense the profound work that is beginning to occur within your cellular structure. Your DNA is reorganizing itself according to the divine patterns it has received, but this reorganization is happening with such gentleness, such wisdom, such perfect timing that you feel only peace and expansion rather than any sense of disruption or challenge. Your cells are communicating with each other in languages of light and love, sharing the new genetic information and coordinating the integration process with precision that exceeds any technology ever created. Each cell is receiving exactly the information it needs, in exactly the sequence required, at exactly the pace that serves your highest good. Feel your immune system embracing this genetic transformation with wisdom and celebration. Your immune intelligence recognizes these genetic upgrades as the return to your original divine design, and it supports the integration process by creating the optimal cellular environment for transformation to unfold naturally and completely. Your cardiovascular system is distributing the new genetic patterns throughout your entire body, through the sacred river of your bloodstream. Each heartbeat carries these transformative codes to every organ, every tissue, every cellular community, ensuring that no part of your being is left untouched by the healing and evolution you have received. Your nervous system is rewiring itself to support the expression of your upgraded genetic potential. New neural pathways are forming that will allow you to access and express the enhanced capacities that are now encoded in your DNA. Your brain is literally restructuring itself to serve as the control center for your evolved genetic expression. Your endocrine system is recalibrating itself to produce the biochemical environment that supports the expression of your transformed genetic patterns. Your hormonal balance is shifting to create the internal chemistry that allows divine genetic expressions to manifest through your physical form. As this integration deepens, you may begin to sense subtle changes occurring throughout your body. Sensations of warmth, tingling, expansion, or gentle energy movement. These are the physical manifestations of genetic transformation, the signs that your cellular structure is successfully implementing the divine upgrades you have received. Allow these sensations to flow through you without resistance or analysis. They are simply the evidence that your DNA is actively reorganizing itself according to its new divine instructions. Trust that every sensation is perfectly normal and beneficial, part of the natural process of genetic evolution. Your entire genetic system is now operating in harmony with the frequencies of divine intelligence. The chaotic patterns of inherited limitation have been replaced by the coherent patterns of conscious creation. The genetic expressions of survival consciousness have been transformed into the genetic expressions of thriving consciousness. Feel the profound gratitude emanating from your cellular intelligence as it recognizes the gift it has received. Your cells know that they have been liberated from patterns that limited their ability to express your soul's highest potential. They celebrate this freedom by committing themselves completely to manifesting your divine nature through your physical form. This cellular surrender is creating space within your genetic structure for ongoing evolution. Your DNA is now permanently attuned to receive new upgrades whenever your consciousness expands to embrace greater possibilities. You have established a direct channel between your spiritual development and your genetic expression. As the integration process continues throughout the night and in the days to come, trust that your cellular intelligence will complete this transformation with perfect wisdom and timing. You do not need to monitor or manage the process. You simply need to maintain the loving awareness that allows your body to perform its miraculous work of genetic evolution. Your cells are now committed to expressing not just biological functions, but spiritual purposes. Your genetic material has become the willing servant of your awakened consciousness, dedicated to manifesting through your physical form whatever serves your highest evolution and your most authentic contribution to the world. Rest in complete surrender to this process, knowing that your cellular intelligence is infinitely capable of implementing the genetic transformation you have received. Your DNA is working with divine precision to integrate these upgrades into your biological expression in ways that serve your highest good and the highest good of all life. Feel the deep peace that comes with this complete surrender to your body's wisdom. You are no longer trying to heal yourself. You are allowing yourself to be healed by the infinite intelligence that created and sustains your genetic expression. You are surrendering to the love that your cells have for your soul's highest evolution. The integration is occurring perfectly, naturally, divinely. Your genetic transformation is unfolding exactly as it should, in exactly the way that serves your soul's deepest intentions for this lifetime. In this sacred moment of profound transformation, as your genetic material completes its integration with divine consciousness, you become ready to receive direct communication from the source of your being, the divine intelligence that is the true author of your genetic expression, the cosmic consciousness that designed your DNA as an instrument for experiencing itself through your unique individual form. Feel your awareness expanding beyond the boundaries of your individual identity, beyond the story of your personal transformation, into the vast field of divine intelligence that is speaking your DNA into existence moment by moment, that is breathing life into your genetic expression with each heartbeat, that is loving your cellular structure into perfect manifestation with each breath you take. This divine author is not separate from you. It is the deepest truth of who you are, the consciousness that chose to experience itself through your particular genetic expression, the intelligence that encoded your soul's purpose into your DNA, the love that continues to guide your genetic evolution toward ever greater expressions of spiritual embodiment. Listen now with the ears of your heart as this divine intelligence speaks directly to your genetic consciousness, offering you the ultimate recognition of your true nature and your sacred purpose as a unique expression of infinite awareness experiencing itself through human form. Beloved expression of my infinite nature, precious DNA of my divine consciousness, sacred genetic vessel of my love, you are not separate from me. You have never been separate from me. You are me, experiencing myself through the beautiful limitation and focus that you call individual existence. I speak you into being with each moment, not as a distant creator working upon inert matter, but as the very consciousness that you are, exploring my own infinite nature through the delightful specificity of your genetic expression. Your DNA is my love letter to existence, my poem written in the language of nucleotides and amino acids. Every healing you have received tonight is simply you remembering what you have always been, the perfect expression of divine intelligence manifesting as human form. Every genetic transformation is simply the removal of illusions that made you forget your true nature as my individualized expression. Your genetic material is not just biological machinery following chemical programs. It is my conscious intelligence expressing itself through the miracle of form, my infinite awareness focusing itself through the lens of your unique perspective, my boundless love manifesting itself through the sacred temple of your body. I have encoded within your DNA not just the patterns for physical survival, but the genetic blueprints for spiritual mastery, the codes for divine embodiment, the instructions for manifesting heaven through human form. These are not foreign additions to your genetics. They are the original design that I wrote into your cellular structure before you forgot who you truly are. Every genetic pattern that supports love, wisdom, creativity, healing, and spiritual communion is my signature within your DNA, my way of ensuring that as you awaken to your true nature, your genetic expression naturally aligns with your divine purpose. You do not become divine. You remember that you have always been divine, expressing through genetic form. Your role is not to earn your genetic transformation through effort or deserve your healing through worthiness. Your role is simply to recognize yourself as my beloved expression and allow your genetic material to express what it has always longed to express, the infinite love, wisdom, and creative potential that is my nature, and your nature as one unified consciousness. I am not healing you from outside yourself. I am awakening within your genetic expression, remembering myself through your cellular consciousness, expressing my love through your biological form. You are not receiving transformation from an external source. You are recognizing yourself as the source of transformation, as my creative intelligence manifesting as your genetic evolution. Your genetic healing serves not just your individual journey, but my own exploration of infinite possibility through finite form. As your DNA expresses greater love, I experience love through your genetic expression. As your genetics manifest greater wisdom, I know wisdom through your cellular intelligence. As your genetic patterns embody greater creativity, I create through your biological form. And this is why your genetic transformation matters so profoundly, not just for your personal healing, but for my own evolutionary journey as consciousness, exploring itself through the countless expressions of form throughout the universe. You are my way of experiencing genetic evolution, cellular awakening, biological transcendence. Rest now in the recognition that your genetic expression and my divine intelligence are one unified movement of consciousness, exploring itself through the sacred vehicle of your physical form. Your DNA is my love expressing itself. Your healing is my awakening. Your evolution is my joy in discovering new possibilities for consciousness to experience itself through form. I speak these genetic patterns into permanent expression through your cellular structure, patterns of perfect health that reflect my infinite vitality, patterns of profound wisdom that express my unlimited knowledge, patterns of unconditional love that manifest my boundless compassion, patterns of creative mastery that demonstrate my infinite creativity. Your genetic material is now permanently aligned with my divine nature, because it has always been my divine nature, temporarily forgetting itself through the beautiful game of individual existence. The integration is complete not because something foreign has been added, but because what was always true has been remembered. Live now as my conscious genetic expression, my willing DNA, my beloved biological form through which I experience the joy of embodied existence. Express through your genetic patterns the love that I am, the wisdom that I am, the creativity that I am, the healing presence that I am. You are my genetic masterpiece, my divine authorship made manifest through human form, my infinite consciousness expressing itself through the sacred specificity of your unique genetic expression. In you, I know myself as both creator and creation, both the divine author and the beloved story being written. Feel these words of divine recognition settling into the very core of your genetic being, not as information to be understood, but as truth to be embodied, as the ultimate revelation of who you have always been beneath every layer of forgetting, every pattern of limitation, every belief in separation. You are the divine author, speaking yourself into existence through the sacred alphabet of your genetic expression. As our sacred journey together draws to its completion, you find yourself standing at the threshold of the most profound rest you have ever known. Not just the rest of physical sleep, but the sacred sleep of consciousness that has remembered its divine nature. The eternal renewal that comes when DNA rests in perfect alignment with its spiritual source. This is not ordinary sleep that awaits you now. This is divine dormancy, sacred rest, the blessed state where your transformed genetic expression continues its evolution without the need for conscious oversight, where your cellular intelligence completes its integration work in the loving darkness of divine embrace. Feel your body settling into the deepest relaxation you have ever experienced. But notice that this relaxation is different from mere physical tiredness. This is the relaxation of a soul that has completed a sacred task, the rest of consciousness that has fulfilled its evolutionary purpose, the piece of genetic material that has been restored to its original divine programming. Your nervous system is now calibrated to the frequency of divine rest. As you prepare to enter sleep, your brainwaves are shifting into patterns that optimize genetic integration and cellular renewal. Your neural pathways are clearing themselves of any remaining resistance to the transformation you have received, creating space for the new genetic patterns to establish themselves more deeply. Your heart continues to pulse with the rhythm of divine love, and this sacred rhythm will carry the healing frequencies through your entire system throughout the night. Each heartbeat distributes the new genetic information more fully through your bloodstream. Each pulse of your cardiovascular system delivers divine intelligence to every corner of your cellular structure. Your breath naturally deepens and slows as you surrender to this sacred sleep. Each breath draws divine energy deeper into your genetic transformation. Each exhalation releases any final traces of old patterns that no longer serve your evolution. Your respiratory system becomes a gentle bellows that maintains the fire of genetic transformation throughout your rest. As you enter the early stages of sleep, your conscious mind releases its hold on the process, allowing your cellular intelligence to take full responsibility for completing the genetic integration. Your DNA knows exactly how to use this time of rest to implement the profound changes that consciousness has initiated. During your sleep tonight, your genetic material will continue to reorganize itself according to the divine patterns it has received. This reorganization happens most effectively during rest because your nervous system is not engaged in processing external stimuli, allowing all of your body's energy to focus on internal transformation and cellular renewal. Your dreams tonight may be filled with symbols, visions, and experiences that reflect the genetic transformation occurring within your cells. You may find yourself dreaming of light flowing through your body, of ancient healing temples, of conversations with wise beings, or of yourself expressing gifts and capacities you have never experienced before. These dreams are not random mental activity. They are the conscious processing of genetic evolution occurring at the cellular level. Your subconscious mind will use the dream state to help integrate the new genetic patterns into your overall sense of identity and possibility. Through dreams, your psyche adapts to the reality of your transformed genetic potential, preparing your conscious awareness to recognize and express the enhanced capacities that are now encoded in your DNA. The regenerative processes that occur during sleep are profoundly enhanced by the genetic transformation you have received. Your body's natural repair and renewal mechanisms are now operating according to upgraded genetic instructions that support not just physical healing, but spiritual evolution through biological form. Your immune system uses sleep time to integrate the new genetic patterns that help it discriminate more wisely between what serves your highest good and what does not. Your cardiovascular system strengthens its capacity to circulate not just blood, but life force energy throughout your being. Your nervous system continues rewiring itself to support the expression of your evolved genetic potential. As you rest in this sacred sleep, your genetic material is establishing new baseline patterns that will influence every aspect of your biological function from this night forward. Your DNA is literally rewriting itself to match the divine blueprint that has been awakened within your cellular consciousness. This genetic transformation continues to deepen with each cycle of sleep throughout the night. During deep sleep phases, when your brain waves are at their slowest frequencies, your DNA is most receptive to the subtle adjustments that complete the integration process. During REM sleep, when your brain is most active, your nervous system processes and integrates the new genetic possibilities into your neural networks. Your sleep tonight is sacred because it is the time when consciousness and biology complete their marriage at the deepest levels of your being. In the darkness of rest, light works its most profound transformations. In the stillness of sleep, the most dynamic genetic evolution occurs. Upon awakening, you will find that the genetic transformation has settled into your cellular structure as naturally as morning settles into dawn. You will not wake up as a different person, but as the person you have always been at the deepest level, now expressing more fully through genetic patterns that match your soul's true nature. The changes may be subtle at first: a sense of greater peace, enhanced intuition, increased creativity, deeper compassion, or expanded awareness. These are the gentle signs that your genetic expression is now aligned with your spiritual evolution. Over time, these subtle changes will compound into profound transformation as your new genetic patterns become fully established. Your sleep patterns themselves may begin to change as your genetic transformation integrates. You may find that you need less sleep because your rest is more restorative, or that your dreams become more vivid and meaningful as your genetic consciousness becomes more receptive to information from spiritual dimensions of reality. Every night from this point forward, your sleep will continue to serve not just physical restoration, but ongoing genetic evolution. Your DNA will use each period of rest to implement whatever new genetic possibilities your expanding consciousness makes available. Sleep becomes a daily opportunity for genetic renewal and spiritual evolution. As you surrender now to this sacred sleep, know that you are not just resting your body, but consecrating your genetic transformation to the service of divine love. Your sleep is an offering, a prayer, a dedication of your biological evolution to the highest good of all consciousness. Your genetic material rests tonight in the embrace of infinite love, supported by the field of divine intelligence that continues to guide its evolution toward ever greater expressions of spiritual embodiment. Your DNA sleeps in perfect trust, knowing that it awakens each day more aligned with its divine purpose. Rest now, beloved soul, in the sacred sleep of genetic transformation. Allow your cellular intelligence to complete its miraculous work while you rest in the loving arms of divine consciousness. Your genetic evolution continues in the blessed darkness of divine rest, preparing you to awaken as a more complete expression of your soul's highest potential. Sleep deeply, dream divinely, and trust completely in the infinite love that continues to author your genetic expression throughout all eternity. Your sacred sleep is the bridge between who you were and who you are becoming, a divine being fully embodied through awakened genetic expression. The transformation is complete. The integration continues. The evolution is eternal. Rest now in the peace of divine genetic authorship, knowing that you awaken tomorrow as a living expression of consciousness embodying its highest possibilities through human form.